As you can see, I picked a lively topic for Christmas. I'll let you find out what that is at Christmas. August is always a fun time for people that got worked over by the doctors when they were young to make sure that they had plenty of allergies and hay fever. So all the people that have always enjoyed August, now to have two kids that have never seen a medical person for specific medical treatments for anything, to watch my two kids watch me sneeze and stuff in the middle of allergy season, not having any allergies whatsoever, either one of them, and they just sit and laugh at me. So this is the difference. I wondered, you watch, if I do nothing to these kids, I bet you they'll have nothing that I had. They've had nothing that I had by doing nothing to the children. So you tell me what they did to your kids. So I'll probably be clearing my throat in August. I'll tell you, I've learned as I've gotten older, August 19th is the special day. August 19th. You watch, it's an interesting time, but it's really not that much of a problem. Kelly made sure I put that up. A lot of folks are having some fun with that. Yes, I fortunately am going to rest next week, not anything big, before the fall. Well, when all the weather starts to change, you're all going to start getting sick again, and it'll all start up, and I'm going to enjoy the last little bit of warm before the coughs and the diseases that send people to the emergency room. That why, I don't know, but it does. Kelly wanted me to mention, I had a 70-year-old guy, I think he's out in the crowd somewhere here, but I have not found him yet. This dude has got Parkinson's. So it's kind of interesting. So to me, I don't really think of Parkinson's as Parkinson's. You have too many chemicals, you have too many metals. Something, one or the other, pick one. So the point of this story was, the last time I was on vacation, this dude, I think he's out here, his tremors have completely settled down. And the point is, can you hit that next slide? And I had this guy cleaning his liver out. On a scoop of that twice a day, this 70-year-old dude with Parkinson's came the closest to my foot bath of anybody. On 2 months of that nitro, it was unbelievable. Amazing, the chemicals that were out of this guy's body before he got to that foot thing. The girls were shocked. They brought everybody in and said, look at this. You would not believe what this toxic dude had after what you did for 2 months having him clean himself out. It was clean before I got to him. Now, a couple choices. The cruciferous vegetable family is going to have to be included in your body. How many men are having fun right now with, prostate numbers? You get to go check your numbers back and forth. Well, I told my dad is 83 this month. I'm 50. He don't care. He likes to brag. He likes to brag about that. So the point is to watch all you guys battle the fear of your prostate. I had a shaking man in from France today, cornered me in the hall. She was practically tremoring. Yes, girls, yes or no? Is it true? Am I making this up? Practically flies in. I try to tell you guys, my PSA is a 0.8. My dad's is a 0.9. Keeping the estrogens out of our body wasn't fun. The insurance company didn't pay for it, but that's why we don't play around with our prostate. Estrogen has long been cleared, and it's a continual process every day. That's why they're doing the green for the nitro greens. I don't think one of you men walked in there with a 0.9 at that age. He did. And so the doctors like to ask, all the kinds of questions. Same thing. Now, remember, my prostate cancer is your breast cancer. So learn that stuff. It's important. And I'm going to, my dad has dutifully taken pills. He doesn't even know what he takes, but Mom gives him all kinds of junk and he takes it. So I've said this before, but there's a reason I want to show this pile of pills, and I'll tell you, my dad brought this up to me. Okay, you ready? To have them functioning like they are, and like I said, he's turning 83 this year, I'm going to tell you, it has cost them 1 month in an assisted living nursing home. How much is a nurse, if you lost your marbles, how much is a nursing home today with your no marbles? Oh, if you, $5,000, $2,500, you're gonna be put in a sandbox chained to a board. You ain't getting, now reality, $2,500, you'll be in a clinic somewhere, chained, medicated to the wall. With no marbles, I'll bet you it's $5,000 per month till you die. Now, my mom does it willfully. My dad does it kicking and scratching. But I will tell you, it's 1 month on each of them what I have them spending on themselves per year. What it would cost them to sit drooling in a home. 1 month. It's $5,000 each for what they put into their health. And they have all kinds of insurance, and it doesn't cover a bit of it, does it, Dad? And it grinds it, it keeps them awake at night that they don't cover this. It just kind of tortures them, a little hole in his stomach, but he's 83 and he figured, geez, this really worked. Shut up and keep doing it. So, good. Next. We're talking about memory. So just remember before I zero in on what we're trying to do. How many people have been smart enough to take that little Vitanax pill? Who takes that Vitanax pill? Okay, now, what color is it? It's yellow. So I want to tell my parents that little yellow pill that we've been taking for over a decade mimics the exact diet that the Indians used to have no Alzheimer's. It's curry. The color of that pill, that's a pharmaceutical grade dose. That dose is exactly everything that they could eat on their spice dishes in India. So if we're taking that by itself, you're mimicking the spice that caused the lowest rate of Alzheimer's in the world. Curry. And it also has green tea, which is pharmaceutical grade. That's a drug. That's an Australian drug, the pill Vitanax. It's green tea, it's curcumin, curry, it's rosemary, and that grape seed. I am so faithful on that pill, but it's not fun and it's not exciting, but that's why I could probably talk for a 2-week lecture on the doctors on that little combination of pills and not repeat anything. It's that important. I want to tease you with something before I get even further. Omega-3 oils have significantly reduced the incidence of Alzheimer's disease as well as vascular dementia and improved quality of life and memory in those affected by dementia. The 2 famous studies published in the Archives of Neurology. This is the poor man's approach. 1 fish meal a week cut Alzheimer's 60%. 1 fish meal a week. Unbelievable. There's things, I never eat a piece of fish in my life. Anything that smells like fish, I don't like fish. I don't want to go into a fish store. I don't want to touch fish. So to grow up without the DHA that you're only going to find in some very exclusive things, I miss that. You have no clue if I could go back in time during those formative years, how much I'd pay to start a totally different train than the one I was on. It's one all you were on too. You weren't on, none of you were on the right train. I have a whole bunch of kids out there that are, so I'm proud of my patients. You've given me 2 things to be proud of. It's taken 28 years for me to think you've done a few things right, but this year you've done 2. 1, I have had, if I look around at you people, there's one thing that among my patients that I've never seen better than this year. It's taken me 28 years to get the fear of the sun out of you people. I have never had more tanned patients walk into my office this year. I've commented on everybody's finally realized, it's Michigan. There's no sun. Get it when you can. We're scared of it. It's God put it up there to kill us. He did not put up there. He gave us Washington to kill us. Number 1. I know, Dad. I know it hit you right through the heart, but it did. And the second thing this year 9 out of 10 of you men or women, my regular patients, walked in and said they smoked Tim Russert. I have never had more people understand what a complete mess is. They just, to cook this guy in front of you and then act like it was his fault that they did it. I would have a field day to sit down with his doctors and his medical records in front of you live before I had a chance to read them. And I'd do it in front of you without screening one thing. I was dying to see the description of his death. And when I read it, I just laughed out loud. Good heavens, you paid for the best. He passed all his treadmill tests with flying colors. He jogged every day, jogged the day before. He's in perfect shape. He did everything the doctors wanted him to do. Everything. So when I read how, I was dying to see, just give me just the description. It took about 3 days before it was on the Drudge. And I just read it and just laughed. Boy, you sure paid for the best. It said, you read the description, because today, if you don't know what you're talking about, it comes across pretty easy. This is how they say he died. He had a coronary thrombosis. He had a plaque deposit in his coronary artery. Somehow, they think that deposit broke loose and his coronary artery ruptured and exploded. His heart exploded. Coumadin and Lipitor. Plavix and aspirin. Crestor and pick one. Dad, how'd your best friend die Thanksgiving? His bowel exploded. Coumadin and Lipitor. Pretty simple. I could go right through the crowd and point out people whose relatives, they didn't have time for the little strokes. They just, Bob Talbert. How many people remember Bob Talbert in the paper? His bowel exploded. He was in the hospital about 3 months before he pooped inside himself and he died. But he loved hospitals, he wrote about them, and he hated vitamins. And he liked to eat at Coney Island. So his bowel ruptured. My dad's buddy's bowel ruptured. And when you thin your blood down enough and you pull all the fat out of your membranes, you're going to explode. So everybody's exploding now. They just drop and they just fall. Everything, their heart explodes, their coronaries explode. So I will guarantee you, if you hear my dad at this age, his coronary artery exploded, I've really crapped something up. That's a disaster. He's 8 years older than me. Unbelievable. And by the time they got done explaining it to you, you all thought, geez, he didn't do something right. Yeah, he did too much right. He should have went in another direction. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And they can't even explain what kind of a mess this was because it was a chemically and totally induced mess. I'd bet anything on that. You'll see the pattern. You're supposed to have little strokes before things start exploding. When they start exploding right out of the chute, make sure what you're doing because they're exploding. You're not supposed to start there. Now, before we get into the Alzheimer's stuff, the International AIDS, they finally had to say, we apologize. Nobody told you this. All the fundraisers, your kids ran in circles for this disease, I'm sure. Royal Oak, we raised, I don't know, lilies or something and passed out lilies all over. Well, it was a lie. Now they have to say the whole thing was a mess. We apologize. AIDS was a disaster, and we didn't read it right. So it'll never do what we said it did, and we're sorry. But since that came out, there's 56,000 new AIDS cases in the country, and they're working on an AIDS vaccine as we speak at the same time. So there's no such thing as AIDS. There never was. IV drug users, promiscuous gay men, and blood transfusions, period. Done. The prostitutes, well, they usually are pretty IV drug using. Forget the clients, because I don't buy the client thing unless they're doing something. You'll understand that in a second. But next, look at the name of the guy that declared that the AIDS of, if you want to get something done right, you got to find the cock. And once you find the cock, from that point on, things roll downhill. So for all these years, they just didn't have the right guy at the head, so to speak. I couldn't make this crap up. So now they had to admit, well, we kind of misread the whole thing, The whole thing's over. It's not ever going to hit the heterosexuals, and it's only in the heterosexuals in sub-Saharan Africa. No, it's not. They're starving, you imbecile. It's not AIDS. They're starving. When I was growing up, they were thin and starving. They're diseased now, but they were starving when I was growing up. They look like the same people to me. So, as I've been telling you for over 20 years about the mess that your government has pilfered money out of your pockets for something that never existed, and it still doesn't exist. Thank you, Dr. DeCock. I don't know how to answer that. I remember driving to Grandma Cassie's, the Goodyear sign, when Americans used to make cars before we decided free trade was better. And I used to see the Goodyear thing going to remember? We go to Grandma Cassie's, that Goodyear. Who remembers that Goodyear thing? It was on the way to Grandma Cassie's house. So we could watch Grandma take medication and be sick and see how many cars they made on the way. Now, I'm trying to see if they can replace that, because when the autism thing started, it was about 1 out of 280. The last sign on the highway, it's 1 out of 150. The Japs say we're down to 1 out of 62. We're gonna I want that revolving sign so that we can keep up with the changes, because it's changing faster than I can keep up with it. And I think only a sign is gonna help me. A sign. That'll make it easier. Next. I can't imagine why we're losing the memory loss, because all the drugs, all the journals say, you know those cholesterol-lowering drugs? They roast your brain. Like all the journals say that. It's the largest selling drug in history. They claim that Lipitor could bankrupt Medicare with no appreciable change in life expectancy. Tranquilizers and antidepressants cause muddled thinking and memory loss. So next. Then they said, well, now they're kind of concerned. They said there was some very sketchy research, but now they found out, holy Toledo, statins shut your brain off. Statins cause the cells to make a final form, the kind which the brain can no longer modify, just wears out your brain. So they said the statins are really causing you to lose your brain, and all the men take that, but don't worry about it. Next. Now, the next day, they said now they want to put the kids on statins. It's 8-year-olds, so they thought we'd start. Why wait to have your brain messed up when you can have it done nice and young? The only side effects of this are muscle pain. We're back to the cognitive problems. And they say, you know, it messes up the brain in adults, but we're not sure. We'll have to find out if it does it to the children or not. I guess. I understand. It's getting clearer. Next. I know the TV is pretty cool and all the fun little commercials and stuff, but the lower your cholesterol is in that age group, the faster you're going to die. They were shocked to find this from all causes. Shoot yourself, run into a ditch, everything. All causes. So you get your cholesterol down nice and low, like it says, and the most prestigious journal in the world says you're going to croak faster. Next. The highest cholesterol levels were the healthiest. The lowest were the sickest. Why change a good thing? There's a lot of you extra old people out there, I noticed. I need a stunt stump. I have a patient that I could not get here because stage fright, he would have died on the stage. I need a stunt stub. Who has a sick stomach that's had their gallbladder taken out? Come on up here. How many people have had their gallbladder taken out in this crowd? You're not in trouble. There's no trouble for your gallbladder being taken out. How many people after the gallbladder was taken out had the same symptoms? Raise your hands. Maria used to work them out. Maria, stand up. This is your world. We go back how many years? 25 years. She walked in as a patient. My stomach's a wreck. I poked on her gallbladder. I said, your stump's gone. I said, you got gallbladder trouble. She said, aha, Whitey. She's Mexican. Aha. She said, aha, Whitey, I got you. I don't have no gallbladder. So she'd been to about 5,000 doctors. That's her son right next to her. If any of the story's not true, Wesley, just fill in the blank. So she goes home to Mr. Personality, Barry. Her husband's Mr. Personality. She married Whitey. Ha! Ha! So Mr. Personality goes, all right, Maria, what did this guy say? Because she's always used to coming home. If I remember, the story is getting clear. You always walked in with a bag of pills from somebody. What did this guy say? He said it was my gallbladder. I don't even have one. Oh boy, here's another journey. Then I fixed her stomach, didn't I? So the point is, you better understand that you can have a gallbladder attack with no stomach. With no gallbladder. Now, not to poke on her gallbladder, if I tell patients, this is a CAT scan. It's a finger CAT scan. Now just relax your stomach for a second. Now, Patrick Swayze, I'd poke right there. Pancreas. You should see how many sore pancreases there are out there today. That didn't hurt, did it? No. No, that's your pancreas. It's a happy. So in these stomach patients, I can take my finger through a stomach patient, just poke on things. Here's your stomach, middle of your stomach. That might be an ulcer spot. Off to the side down here, maybe your duodenum down there. Okay? And if I come up right under here is your liver, that little hole. Now see, that's the hole here is your liver reflex. You can poke on that hole. Now see, now number one, her liver's sore, and I didn't even get to where I want to poke yet. That was her liver. Now where a spot I want to poke is right here. Now that's the gall stump right there. Now how hot is that spot?
Pretty hot.
Now, can you sit here for just a second?
Yeah.
Just sit right here. You're going to get an easy break here. I have this wonderful patient. He's 67 years old. He's a nice guy. You should, if you were this nice, you might have this story happen to you. If you're a jerk, you're probably going to miss it. So you remember this story. This guy came in, he's had heart trouble, he's had heart attacks, he's had everything. He's been with me about 9 months. I picked him up after another doctor didn't do that well and smoked him. Got the clotting factors ran, cleaned out his pipes, got him on the blood viscosity, did the Saruta thing with Mr. Schaff, all the stuff that we've all done. No big deal. Smoked it, done. I know right where he's at. I get a phone call. Blank had a heart attack. He's in the hospital. That's kind of interesting. Blank had a heart attack. Well, I don't, all right, we'll have to see, but I don't believe it. That's why I said, he did everything I wanted him to do. He didn't have a heart attack. Oh, no, I had a heart attack. So 6 weeks goes by. He comes in. There's the file. Acute chest pains off and on over the weekend. He had a heart attack 3 weeks ago. Ended up having an angioplasty. They put 3 stents in his heart, and they had surgery. He's on aspirin, diazide, low pressure, Plavix, nitrostat, blah, blah, blah. And the stents, everything. And he just looked at me. And I looked at this dude. 95% of my patients would have said, I took your crap and it didn't work. I would have expected that from 98 out of 100 of you. I would have expected you to whine more than you should have because you didn't know what you were talking about. So I took to this guy, I said, we're going to get to the bottom of this because I don't believe a thing about this because did you do everything I wanted you to? He said, to the letter. I said, they're completely full of crap. Go get your paperwork from the hospital. Next, he walked in 4/23/08. This is what you got to learn to ask in the hospital before they hose all of you, because they've done it to 1,000 of my patients in the last 28 years. If you had a heart attack, your enzymes are elevated. Boom. These are so this guy walks in with some very tiny numbers, and they're not too sure. The next day, this is the day he walked in, and his heart wasn't that happy. They put 3 stents in his heart. The second day, his number jumped up to over 50. He had the heart attack after they put the stents in. There's his blood work. That's the day he walked in. That's the second day. He had it the second day after the operation. Now, so he comes in. We're sitting there with his paperwork. Nothing makes sense. His arteries are perfect. Stand up for a second. Come on over here. Put your arm out. And I went, just one. I went arteries, heart. This is what I'm going to teach the doctors next month. Valves, heart is perfect. I said, blank. So what the heck happened to you? I said, I had this terrible pain in my chest. And I went, And he did that. He said, that's it. I said, that's your gallbladder. He said, I don't have one. You had a stump attack that Larry thought was a heart attack, crammed the stents in, Curly came in with the stents, and Mo finished the job. So, by the time this dude walked out, he realized he was smoked with a gall stump attack, and not one of them could prove a thing that they did to him. If he was not a nice guy, if he accused me of doing something like 95% of you would, I would not have dug this deep. Thank you for coming up here. You know how many and I'll tell you, all you people without a gallbladder on a low-fat diet, so you better watch it, and you better learn how to treat that, and that's an office thing, because I can't get into it. Everybody without a gallbladder is on it. You need to emulsify your fats. So all that loose, mushy stool, you can wave to your fats in the toilet, because that's where they are. They're not in your body. And you have to learn how to take an emulsified bile salt with the fat for the rest of your life, or the bile is going to eat a hole through your gut and make your stomach worse. When patients learn to play that pill perfectly, they said to me, I've lost that rot gut feeling in my stomach. You know what that rot gut is? Your body's digesting itself. Next. Now, the American president of American College of Cardiology, they said, well, even the thing they did to him, they said is completely worthless. Next. New England Journal of Medicine said, you know, I know the angioplasties are fun, but they said it's useless. I don't know. And remember the tough Pollock thing? You know what you can do? If you know how to use your head, you know what you can do? Watch this. Up. You just stand up. She's Polish, speaks broken English. She speaks fine. Hold on, I just want to say this. She has no clue what I'm going to do. Okay? She walked into my office with an elephant on her chest. She had a complete coronary occlusion. She tried to get the doctors, look, I go up and down stairs, there's a brick on my chest, stress makes me bad, I'm all stressed out, my heart's completely heavy, there's heart trouble in my family, nobody will listen to me. You know what she did? She's Polish, so remember, she's tougher than you Americans. I'm Polak, so I can say that. So what did she do? You know what she did on her own? You know how smart she was? Your doctor would have laughed at you for doing this. You know what she did? She got on a treadmill. And she didn't know what to do. I'm going to die. So she started running on a treadmill till it got too heavy and she stopped. Then she got on a treadmill the next day and she started to run till it got too heavy and she stopped. She kept doing this. In 9 months, the pain stopped. And she started asking all these doctors, the pain stopped. What happened? She perfectly taxed her heart and rerouted it around that blockage. It took her 9 months on a treadmill to grow an artery around her heart on her own because the doctors were too stupid to know what it was. Then I did a blood test, found out all her clotting factors, and finished the job that she started, and that's what she did on her own. Very good. I'm impressed. And to know so little about biology, she has to ask 1 million doctors, what happened? They don't know. They don't know. It's called anastomosing. Everybody does it. You grow arteries around blockages. Shh. They've made a lot of money not telling you this.
You forgot about one more thing.
Yes.
My doctor sent me to cardiologist, and I never went. Because I thought when he puts me on those medicines, I'm going to on this for life, so I didn't know.
Now, being European, you think clearer than us. We would have kind of said, now, most of these white dudes out here, the old white dudes, that's not a question. The first question is, does insurance pay for it? They wouldn't think like this. This is a European. Everybody listen to this. Learn, because I'm tired of old, cheap white guys. As long as they give you a bushel basket of free stuff, I'm happy. Everything's going to fall off. I'll die, but I don't care. It's free. Gosh. You wonder how the weapons of mass destruction thing stuck? It's easy. Wait till you see the next thing they're going to sell you. Unbelievable. You know, thank all my Albanians, my Serbs, my Yugoslavians. I got in half my practice I can't pronounce. They can't speak to me. They point, they grunt, they bring interpreters. The only refreshing thing I have is working with the foreigners. That's it. Because the battle that I got with all the chemical whitey, right, Maria? It's tough, isn't it? Ask my girls what it's like to sit and do this all day. And the Europeans come in and soldier right through, and they know exactly, I'm not taking all this stuff. It's not a debate. I don't have to beg them. Doesn't matter how free it was, is it? Even if it was free, you didn't want it, right? You don't know what a battle this is. As long as it's free, I'll poison myself. And you sit and watch this for 28 years. Is the estrogen free? Every one of you know somebody that died from estrogen. Didn't stop anybody, did it? Stop anybody? They had to jerk it off the market to save you women because you wouldn't have stopped on your own, most of you. I've had more patients die from an estrogen-induced cancer in 28 years than anything. The doctors killed more of my patients than my patients died on their own. I had 2 staff members die from breast cancer from all the estrogen. Right? Did we sit and live through that? Wasn't that fun? She got the best care money could buy right to the John. Now, when I had my implant surgery done, I asked an anesthesiologist friend of mine, how baked am I going to be by the time I'm done? He said, you're going to get conscious sedation. I had a Versed fentanyl cocktail, for those that know. And I was wide awake, babbling the whole time, forgot everything, probably directed part of the operation. That's funny. I woke up, I accused him of messing with me. I said, I know something went on, and I was sitting out, and I don't know what it was, but I'm going to hold all you responsible for something. We had a lot of fun in there, actually. I had Dr. Sturts laughing so hard, I thought I was going to screw something up in my face. Oh, we had fun. Yes, Dr. Sturts in Plymouth. He'll remember me. So will the girls. So I asked this dude, hey, am I going to be baked? He said, nah, you're not going to be baked. He said, the bypass people are baked. He said his exact terms are 53% of the bypass people, man, they're pretty, things change when they come home. And it's the little blood clots, they say, that does it. We're looking at causes of memory loss. Is there a pill for memory? Are they going to find that Alzheimer drug like the AIDS cocktail for the disease that didn't exist? There is no Alzheimer's drug. You don't poison a brain for 80 years and take a drug and expect it to work. Next. Simple things I've talked about in the past for people with vascular dementia. Everybody wants to treat the brain. There's pipes that go to the brain. There's circulation here. You got to have juice to the brain. The hydrogenated oils that we've all enjoyed with the stuff that stays on the store shelf so we can buy it and keep it at home. If there wasn't hydrogenated oils, I'd have to go back and forth to the store every day. And there's a lot of people willing to do it. I'm not. I don't live around food. I'm happy the stuff sits in the cupboard. Without the oils, it's not. So there's a price to pay for some convenience. Next. The brain's appetite for glucose and oxygen is great. Don't eat for 3 days and you tell me what your brain's like. If I took this crowd, hold back food and sleep for 3 days. You talk about disruptions in commerce. You watch what these other countries do. They're used to it. You watch what you guys do without food and sleep for 3 days. It'll be total chaos. I wouldn't trust 3 days. You watch people's blood sugars are too unstable. All the alcoholic children, all the diabetic people, oh my gosh. It'd be complete chaos. So interruptions in cerebral blood flow have been implicated in cognitive decline. You have to optimize blood flow first. Nobody talks about this. We're just going to cut out a 4-inch piece of artery in your heart. Well, what about the rest? We're going to cut out a 4-inch piece of artery in your heart. Well, there's 60,000 of them, and why are we picking on one? Because I don't know how to do anything else. Vascular dementia. They consider it the same as Alzheimer's. There's a little bit of an issue, which one's which. It disrupts the cholinergic function. Now this is stuff, tapes, you guys can take these things out. I'm going to move along because I got a lot of stuff to cover. While body cells are easily replaced, the nerves and supporting tissues of the brain and spinal cord cannot be replaced once they are damaged or destroyed. Next. This is important. Cells of the brain and nervous system are incapable of further division and renewal once they reach maturity. You better not poison your children once they reach maturity. We're going to cover the things you do with your kid. I put my kid enough DHA, send in an application for college, they sent him a $40,000 check. I didn't ask for nothing. They sent me a letter, we're going to give your kid 40 grand. I didn't ask for nothing. We didn't know you did, and we're still going to give him 40 grand. From filling out the application and his vacation pictures? What kind of competition did he have is the real question. My wife calls me, Derek's getting 40 grand for CCS. I said, are you kidding? We thought it was a typo. We're going to send it to you. Highest scholarship award you could get. Homeschooled for 10 years, made ashtrays and birdhouses at Northville for 2, and they said he came from a monkey. He was able to shake that off. Now everything's going fine. And he got a scholarship. Next. I won't say that. I caught myself, dear. I caught myself. Now, if you want to start finding out what's going on, clotting factors. My family has none of these. These are the magic ones. These are the David Lettermans. These are the Dick Cheney. Don't tell Dick Cheney to run this. These are the tests that you want to run. The first thing you do is find out what is your family like. Forget the cholesterol. It's the triglycerides and the LDL that mess you up. It's not this. Don't waste your time spending that. Your testosterone comes from that, men. Your testosterone, come on, sailors. And if you ask my staff, what's the guys that come in like today? They're a little prissy. They got Purell. They carry Purell and hanky. Picture mom that never leaves her side. Everything's on the refrigerator, isn't it? Bumper stickers and stuff. The girls know. We've had some interesting tortures. Next. This is for the doctors. Now, I have entertained you folks with this nonsense for 28 years. I have fought off the dogs as much of my career as I could. September 14th, I have agreed to lecture to the physicians for continuing education. It's going to happen, I believe, at this hotel. Now, it's a doctor's seminar, doctors only. It's all the doctors in, I don't know, Midwest or whatever. If you think I'm kind of, see, my practice drives them nuts because of how successful. They hear my name mentioned forever, so it's tortured them. They're tortured. I don't accept insurance. I have a different kind of, they're driving me nuts. I finally agreed September 14th, so if you think I was tough on you, God have mercy on their souls. I've watched their work for 30 years. I know what they do. You guys don't. I do. And my practice has totally irritated them enough that I have every right to talk for where I'm standing. I waited till this point to straighten out my profession. They will be straightened out. They will seriously be straightened out. Now I know, look, you got to understand something. How many of you women have thyroid trouble? Raise your hand. It's going to be half of you at least, so if half of you don't raise your hand, the rest of you don't even know about it. Pardon? Thyroid. Thyroid. How many people have thyroid trouble in here? I watch you guys take your Synthroid and all your stuff, and you go to Brownstein, take some good stuff from him, and he's a great guy. And you know the rest of the story about the thyroid? Well, now they finally had to admit that, now Scientific American's not somebody to mess with, but now we've lowered your IQ, and we've kind of made some huge problems with growth and metabolism and IQ and thyroid function. Geez, we're kind of messing things up. And kind of funny that I have trouble buying, and it's true, but fluoride is the base material of Prozac and that nerve gas, sarin. What's fluotuxetine mean? What's the fluo part? Who knows? Next. Now, trying to fight, do we have a weight problem in the Midwest? We're like the fattest part of the country. Trying to fight obesity or reduce fat levels in the body while you have an underactive thyroid is like trying to light a match without light a fire without a spark or a match. If your water supply is fluoridated, you need to be vigilant about getting enough iodine. Individuals who are iodine deficient are more susceptible to the ill effects of fluoride. There's 1,000 parts per million in what you brushed your teeth with today. Fluoride was a drug from the 30s to the 50s used to treat an overactive thyroid. The dose was 2 to 10 milligrams, and that would reduce a patient's basal metabolic rate. Now today, you get 1.6 to 6.6 milligrams of fluoride from all fluoride sources combined drinking. Your toothpaste is 1,000 parts per million. This is next. This is heavy. Separate research has indicated that individuals with adequate iodine levels begin to see detrimental effects to their thyroid at 3.5 milligrams of fluoride. But in those with a deficiency, the effects begin to appear at 0.7. That's nothing. You're shutting your thyroid off with your toothpaste and affecting your IQ. I had a person today that did it. This is the stupid questions that I get that torture the daylights out of me. My friend did some extensive research, and he came up with that the cause of colon, gets me behind. The cause of colon cancer is cheese. I've done my research. Remember? Was anybody in the room with me, the cheese dude? And I like to watch people get hung up on these idiotic missions in life. They're getting pounded with fluoride. They're getting pounded with chlorine. They're getting pounded with arsenic-soaked toys. And the Chinese are making your pharmaceuticals. The Chinese are making the raw materials for your pharmaceuticals. You have no clue what you're taking. So, interestingly enough, medicine has become the #1 cause of death. You think something odd's going on? The dog chewies are poison. What do you think you're taking? 93% of the raw materials are overseas factories that nobody inspects. Next. This is for the people that take the tape out. Next. Minerals. I block my metals. I want all my dinky minerals. I kind of prefer about 3 of those and about a half a teaspoon of that at night. I take my fast food and I want all the weird minerals. There's exotic ones that you never even heard of. I want every single one. I ain't miss the Celtic salt, and that will give you all your dinky ones. The dinky ones, I want everything. Next. You get one time, if you're concerned about your memory. My dad did a hair analysis because he was the last time we talked about this years ago. My dad's heavy metals were perfect. They were outstanding. His digestion was surprisingly hypochlorhydric. He was wasting lots of money on his supplements. So now he's got to take hydrochloric acid with no symptoms. Not a symptom. All you know is you'd slowly start to lose cognitive function. Everybody that went nuts in my family, all the grandmas and grandpas, my wife's family, mine, that's the commonest, this is the commonest hair analysis I see. It's not heavy metals. You're not losing your mind from heavy metals. More of you are having trouble with your stomach. I thought all the heavy metal issue was going to be the major deal. This is what all the hair analysis looked like on all my brain dead people. Their stomach died and they starved to death. Nexium, Prilosec, GERD, Pepsid. That's exactly what your hair analysis looks like. You want to kill something you don't understand? Well, your digestion ground to a halt. Next. This poor gal came in, and a colleague was treating her. And I looked, all right, what are you doing? I looked at this. This is what he's doing with you. But this is the metal part. To the bottom part, please. That's the bottom. This is her digestion. And please go back to the other one. There's the worst hair analysis. She's 42. She's 3 years into this. She's starting to feel vacant. And people that I thought would do better than with her, when I saw what she lost 3 years with this hair analysis, I gave her a pile of expensive stuff. I felt so bad for her. There's the worst hair analysis you're going to see. She's 42. If she can find the car by 60, if she doesn't jump all over this one, she's in big trouble, big trouble. She's lost the stomach and she's full of aluminum. These people tingle. That's an MS thing right there. These are my MS. They got funny tinglings. They got funny memory. They got funny neurologic symptoms. My mom and dad, at this age, my mom says to me, Randy, I'm taking that hydrochloric acid. My stomach's perfect. Do I need to keep taking it? I said, well, you're worse. She said, no, I'm not. My stomach's going real good. Everything's fine. I'm better. I said, no. I said, you're worse. She said, no, you wouldn't believe it. My stomach's real good now. Everything's fine. And the reason I said that story like I did, now I didn't tell this to my mom. Whenever I put her on the hydrochloric acid, I don't remember it. I don't remember putting her on that pill. It was so long ago that whatever I put her on it for, I don't remember. But the point is, her stomach is deader now than when I put her on that pill. She's older. So the point she was trying to say, my stomach's perfect. Because you take that pill. Stop it, and you will slowly have the hair analysis behind you. Done. So my parents have to take their supplements, because I will guarantee you, by the time you're done tonight, if you're not completely screwed up, I will guarantee you will never see dementia. I could point out a ton of people in this crowd that are on the other side of what I do. I'll guarantee. Shafts, they're not going to have dementia. My parents want to. I was thinking about all the patients, the Sakis. You guys are going to be fine. These people that attacked their health and did everything. And the ones that I know what they did, like the heart attack dude. I knew he didn't have a heart attack. I don't care what the hospital said. I know what he did. And I shoved that paperwork right back at them and said, 0. And I've caught, you want to know how many heart attacks I have found like that couldn't prove the paperwork? 8 out of 10 in my career. You guys don't even know what the chest pain is by the time you walk out of there, by the time you're done. Ask to see the paperwork, and then you're going to make them scared. You've got to know how to read that cardiotroponin I, and nobody knows how to read it. Up, down. But remember, you're learning from a quack, so I want you to keep that in mind. This is all smoke and mirrors. Just make sure your doctor knows I'm okay. Person asked the wrong question this afternoon, didn't they? My doctor said, you're okay, I can see you. A patient I've seen for 20 years, a strange doctor said that to them. You don't want to hear what I said to her. It was tough. Tagamet, Zantac, Pepsid, Prilosec, Nexium. Say goodbye to calcium, B12, beta-carotene, folic acid, thiamine, iron, sodium, and zinc. You're done. I will guarantee you, take this when you eat. You're done. Just wave goodbye. And Grandma's going to this is Grandma Cassie. What was on Grandma Cassie's little cart there? Gas X, Mylanta, Malox. She was a complete gassed up hypochlorhydric, ruined stomach. She ended up in a wheelchair, demented. She had General Motors insurance. She did everything. And she was wasted to the ground. It was amazing what happened to Grandma. And she lived, well, how old was Grandma when she died? They tried to kill her from the time she was 60, and she squeaked out to 93. Sitting in a diaper, losing her mind in a wheelchair, but no matter how hard, the doctors croaked before she could. The tough Pollock. Tough Pollock again. Tough Polish stock. Isn't it amazing how long Grandma Cassie took that? They did a hiatal hernia operation on her, screwed her stomach up, nicked her spleen, had to jerk out the spleen because she started to hemorrhage, gave her a blood transfusion. Now she's got hepatitis. You should have seen the mess Grandma was in. But it was free. It was free. Bruce West is a friend of mine. How many people get the journal Health Alert? Health Alert. I treat Bruce West's secretary as my patient. I've practiced 2.5 times longer than he has. He's writing this newsletter off a 12-year practice. I started my 28th year, August 3rd, of torture. I've been put on this earth to monkey up the other side. Bruce West Journal, statin drugs, we covered. Next. Antacids, pretty simple. Next. Flu shots. Your flu shots are completely soaked with aluminum. You get 10 flu shots, they say you're going to have Alzheimer's. 10. 10. This is the smart. This dude is no dummy. Hugh Freudenberg, this dude, this guy, you look up the head immunologist on the planet, he's got 800 peer-reviewed journals. So he did his research and said, geez, how many flu shots it took to get Alzheimer's? It's like a lottery. If you get enough, you'll get her. Mercury is the most brain-toxic substance on the planet. Mercury is the most brain-toxic substance on the planet. Don't eat the fish, but we're going to put it in your teeth and into your children. And don't eat the fish, though. Could you stand up for a second? Yes, you. She's been a long-term patient. Can you face these people when I say something? Just face that way, please. What was it like to watch your sister raise Stephen Cross? What? Come on up here. This is a family. I watched this kid grow up. He's a handsome. How handsome was that boy?
Very handsome.
What happened to your sister's kid?
He got his shots. He
Mike.
got his.
That's amazing.
Immunization shots at 3 months. And then he started having seizures, and
It's terrible. You got to see this handsome kid in a stroller. He's about 18 now, 20?
19.
He's 19. He's a handsome. You girls lost a good one. He was a handsome boy. But she didn't know I was going to do this. She watched this from 3 months to 19. This family's been destroyed. But he didn't get the measles. I know it's a bad subject, and I put this kid on $2,000 or $3,000 worth of stuff that I paid for to get him to mumble. And she said, for Pete's sakes, on enough suppositories, he's starting to do something.
he's starting to feed himself now and starting to try to form words.
Oh, good. What a mess. So, when my parents know flu shots. Who had a shot in our family? Who had a shot in our family? Who got a shot in our, well, I got you guys didn't like me that much, so you took me for allergy shots and stuff. But after you tortured me, as we got older, now my parents, you have never had flu shots? No. Next. Every once in a while, somebody surprises me, right? Get up here. That's you. That's you. This dude kind of surprised me. I did not expect out of him what I got out of him. I was totally shocked. He absolutely, completely, his wife supported him perfectly, who I met later. She did a great job encouraging him. His dad's a dentist. Sorry about the mercury shot. Sinus. Now, if I haven't done 5 million of these, I want to take this apart, this case. Now, this is what I'm going to do with the doctors. I'm going to take all these cases and take things apart. Then I'm going to go through the crowd and attack them. They don't know what's wrong with them. You watch what I do testing the doctors who take care of you. No, it's all doctors. No, it's not that kind of a thing. Now, Kelly, Amy, how many of these? This could be 2 out of 5 when I come back from lunch. And they're going to say the same thing. Okay? Chronic sinus congestion with year-round allergies. Mom, did I have year-round allergies? No. You're supposed to say no. You said yes. No. Say no. No. Good. Huh? Thank you. See? We'll work on that chelotox. We're working. Spring and fall. They went away in the winter and they went away in the summer. Spring and fall. Itchy eyes, sneezy stuff, simple stuff. They'll kill you with these symptoms. So anytime somebody walks in and says they have year-round allergies, they're full of poop first. I am an allergy person. The pediatrician gave me a ton of allergies, and I'm proud to say it was free, I know allergies. They gave them to me. Spring, fall, period. Satan's. So this is what I would tell the doctors. Anybody that says they have year-round allergies has an infection. Doesn't have an allergy. Now, number one, I know he's too alkaline. Now he sits, he's got acid reflux with GERD. Now, none of these people are over-acidic. I'm here to tell you, I'm an apple cider vinegar dude. So the first thing, now he screwed up his stomach. What does Ma tell him to do? Watch. Previously had an ulcer 7 years ago. He wouldn't have an ulcer unless somebody gave it to him because he's as alkaline as me. So that was misread. Number 3, use Claritin and Sudafed only as needed for my whole life. I got kids playing soccer on Claritin. They're like this from the lawn sprays because of the Claritin. They couldn't clear the lawn sprays. I got kids with tremors at 14 on a soccer field. Eats a lot of fruit. Wasn't that in here somewhere? Were you a fruit eater? Yeah. He said 8. Now, this guy was a touchdown. He was a hero. Wait till I'm impressed. Burning occurring with the esophagus. His food's putrefying and fermenting. Not over-acidic. It's rotting. There's no acid. For 20 years. Possible psoriasis on the scalp, thick patches, itchy on the back of the head. Dry bumps for this. Next, what did I do, Kelly, next? I wanted this dude on 13 Ceruta Plus. I wanted to reacidify his body because it was too alkaline, not too acidic. Now, this is what I'm going to say to doctors. Walk into a doctor today, say, I have acid reflux, he'll hand you Tagament. You're supposed to be a doctor. Figure this thing out. Don't listen to the patient. You guys can get anything you want. Go in, tell him you have an ulcer, you'll get a GERD prescription. He won't figure it out. It would require thought. Tell him I'm depressed, you'll get a Prozac. I'm in pain, you'll get a Vicodin. There's no doctor. He's completely mishandled from end to end. So walk in and tell them you have GERD. They won't check a thing. They'll allow you to do what you want. So I did these 2 things. Okay, next. Now, what day did you come in the first time?
February 25th.
February, March, April, May. Shut up and take your Ceruta Plus. But I'm coughing and spitting. I want Claritin. Shut up and take your Ceruta Plus. I don't care. Take your kale ammo, stop the fruit, take your Ceruta Plus, take your kale ammo, do your apple cider vinegar. Now, and his wife kept saying, come on, come on. Instead of having the spouse skewer everything, I had somebody supporting him for a change. So on May 5th, he just kept doing what I told him to do. These are the reactions it's hard for me to get you people to do. Because your cousin, your sister-in-law, your nurse friend, he's trying to kill you. You got to stop this. This dude coughed for 3 months. At the end of his coughing, he yacked something up. He coughed up a snake on the driveway to bring his family out to say, look what I just yacked up out of my lungs. And his life changed on that moment. Done. Yes?
True, yes.
And this dude, to get you guys to do this from February to May, did he cough up a tumor? What was the snake? Was that lung cancer? What was that big thing in his lung? He don't even know what it was. Brought the family out to gather on the driveway. Yes?
Right.
I mean, you did a great job. This is huge. And I'm going to tell you something. This was simple, cheap, and easy. If I knew I could get you guys all to do something like that, what is that actually worth? You can't. There's not a drug in the world that can do that. He had to break something loose and spit it out. It's priceless. My mom had a friend. The Foundation for Alternative Cancer Therapies, her name was Pat Judson. Remember your friend Pat? Pat, she had trouble going to the bathroom, did a lower GI. You got a tumor in your colon. You got 6 months to live. Right? So she sat around for 3 months going, man, I only got 3 months left. Ah, the heck with it. I'm going to do a colon flush. You can't do that. I'm going to do a colon flush. She passed a parasite the size of a baseball with tentacles on it. She lived 12 more years. Goes back to the doctor. They do a see, your cancer's gone. I'll bet you she would have died on schedule with that spot on her just like she was supposed to. That was the lady in charge of the Foundation for Alternative Cancer Therapies in Dearborn. You did a great job. Thank your wife just as much as you. Somebody could do it. You really did a great job. I was very proud of you. Absolutely. I argue to get people to get your whole life will change. Has it changed? Is it gone backwards at all?
No, I was on antibiotics.
You did a magnificent job. I'm just tickled pink to have these things. I've had people cough up a lifetime of Sudafed. I've had them spit pink foam out, just like, what does it taste like, Sudafed? Did you ever take Sudafed? 16 years. You should see the stuff people have yacked out when their body wanted to get rid of it. All right. I said I would do this because I had one of these cases. John, that's you. Who's your friend? I said I would do this in the back. Come on up here, Carmen. I know he set you up for this, so I don't know her, but he set her up. You got a question, ask him. This is a fire truck driver from Detroit. This is what it's like to be smarter than Mayo. Can I use Mayo Clinic as an example? I got MS. I started with twitching in my right eye. It moved to the right side of my face. This guy drives the fire truck for Detroit. He said 2 months before, I was lifting a couch, and there was this huge pop in my neck. He said, I almost tasted blood in my throat. So he goes, now his face and the whole side of his body starts getting numb. Next. I adjusted his atlas. So I adjusted him twice. He's been on cortisone steroids at the Mayo Clinic. He adjusted his atlas twice. All his MS symptoms stops. His MD's confused. They get confused a lot around me. It's a sad thing. Mayo, now, it's funny. Now, MRI, the lesions on his head went away. I didn't do anything. I just adjusted his atlas. Whatever they saw, I think he had his finger on the screen the first time. Mayo, MD, said, this is the funny thing. When you go in, if you don't take this stuff, you'll die. Then once you get fixed, you can take it or leave it. Didn't matter to him. Didn't matter to him. Stop. So he's sitting there. I'm trying to tell these dudes, there was this pop in my neck. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Straight to steroids, 2.5 years. Now, I got a piece of paper with your thing on it here. I only took 2 things out of there. No, that's the other one. All right, this is what was written by John. You wrote this, right? This says, numbness and tingling in my face, left side, and tingling in other areas like arm, both feet or foot. All right. And I thought this might be an interesting example. I didn't know. This sounded a lot like, what kind of medications do you take? Okay, that's good. Now, what I did to this dude, now this is the stuff I'm going to do in front of the doctors. I'm going to walk them through some simple things because this would boggle their minds. 10 weeks in the chiropractic school, I had different training than everybody. It all started, and I have to explain this to the doctors. How come we don't know this? 10 weeks in the school, I was led off campus by some older classmen to take a seminar that nobody else took in my class. It was the day my journey started. I didn't know anything. I had, the box that your thinking is in, and this is what I'm going to explain to the doctors. I had my box stomped on 10 weeks. I was 19 years old, 10 weeks in the school. When I walked into the clinic and did my thing, one time, I was let out of clinic. They never watched me again. I had 249 unsupervised adjustments because of something that I saw 10 weeks in the school that nobody else saw. That's how this whole journey started. And I can't even tell the doctors all that I saw because it's going to be over their heads. As time goes on, I'll leak stuff to them. But the journey that I started 10 weeks. By the time I got to clinic, I killed the clinic doctors. It was merciless. Now, if I can take my son, I got 4 years with Dylan before he walks into chiropractic school. To watch me for 4 years, my staff would tie that school in a knot, completely in a knot. So this is what I would do on a case that sounded like this. Relax, that's fine. Just face this way. Put your arm, hold your arm tight. Hold tight, hold tight. I want to see how strong her body. Mechanical strength. Pretty simple. Hold tight. Now, the only thing I don't like is it's both feet. I wish it was just more the left foot, ideally, but this is live. Hold tight. Okay, strong arm. I got a dead arm. Okay? This is your good arm, right? Now watch. Hold, put your arm out straight. Hold tight. Positive. Retina flashes around the eye. Hold tight. Positive. Hold tight. Negative. Retina, eyeball. Hold tight. Positive. The flashes around your light from all the aspirin and Coumadin that you're taking, and your retina's pulling loose from your lens. You're getting blind from your blood thinners. I'm just warning you. But they're free. There's her left eye. Oh, you're going to have a home. You know, I listened in my busy schedule what you had to say, and I thought you might. Say, how many lectures have you come to, John? 5? Have you seen one of these before? You said, I think I got an atlas. You said, I think I got an atlas for your lecture. You might be right. The weak eye is on the same side as the weak arm. So I got 2. Right now it's 2 for 2. Okay? Shaquille O'Neal has an atlas. Look at his eyes. The one with the most turned in eye is the side of the stem that's pinched. Watch Jeffrey Feiger sit over the microphone. I'm going to sue everybody. I didn't say that. Can't cancel that. I hate lawyers. Watch his eyes. You notice his eyes? Reba McEntire, watch your eyes. The guy on House, watch his eyes. The wandering-eyed kid. The kids with the patches on. The kid dragged out by the vacuum pump. The kid, Kelly, Kelly's is a new aunt. Where's Mr. Humphrey? Yeah, you like that. Kelly's a new aunt, and I had to take a football coach and her sister and adjust an atlas on a first child in front of this huge dude on her in front. You adjust a first child atlas in front of the parents. That guy about curled up, and what happened? The kid was backwards. The person delivering took him by the head, turned him in a complete circle by his head to get her where she wanted him. That kid's head was a complete mess, and you could have heard it out the door when I put his neck in place, and he started to crawl like that. So many necks have been dislocated at birth, cord around the neck, and it's the wandering-eyed kids. They're everywhere. Everywhere. On your back, your head in the paper. Let me see. Now, what I'll take with you give me a kid with the cord wrapped around his neck. I'm going to take a Tootsie Roll sucker, and I'm going to hold it and move back and forth, and the eyes will have to catch up to each other, because I can't test it, and it's very easy to watch their eyes. They don't work. If I took that sucker in front of Shaquille O'Neal's eyes, you watch how those eyes dart in different directions. You can figure why his neck was dislocated at birth. Ma was screaming. On your back, please. I had to do a block and tackle to get him out. I don't like using this hand, so I'm going to do it on this side. Get your right leg up. Hold tight. Hold tight. Good. Now, if this left leg is weak, her brainstem's hung up exactly like Shaquille's. Just the same. Hold tight. How long have you been like this?
Long time, years. I would say 13 years.
All right, stand up for a second. 13 years.
13 years I've experienced.
And take off your earrings. I need your earrings up. Take off your earrings. This is a good one. This is the perfect thing to do in a crowd. There's nothing better than to do this. And I want you to know how crucial. I got a blank check offer to do the Tampa Bay Lightning, okay? I did all the players, all the stuff, all the kids, all the moms, all kinds of stuff. But the point was, I walked out of there and I said to my wife, I can't believe there wasn't one atlas in the crowd. This is home run material. You know anything about a home run with the neck being out? Your son, Daniel. This is the same thing. Okay, now, this is what we're going to do. You're going to watch this. This will be cool. This is what I was supposed. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I have watched this. You adjust this neck wrong. I've watched you. This is very. You do not mess with your neck. I've watched people put people in a coma with an atlas adjustment. Now, you listen. This is the peripheral nerves. This is what I was trained to adjust for. These things, the pinched nerves. Her stem is pinched. It's the stem right there. It's not these. Her cord is pinched. Right? You know what that's like, don't you, Daniel? And your whole side is gimpy. How misplayed was your son over all the years? Unbelievable. That is your stem being pinched. Now, if you behave yourself, this could be a good day for you. All right. Okay, all right, stand up just like this. Hold tight. One, here's the, now I'm pointing. I want to show you what I'm doing. I'm going to show you guys just like I teach the doctors. I'm going to point right here, right there, right under the skull. Put your arm out. Right atlas, hold tight. You don't play this neck wrong. You don't play this neck wrong. Is the stem pinched? Stem pinched. Stem pinched. Just like that. And that's where your brain stem's pinched, right there. Now, you ready for a big, this will be a big day for you. On your back, your head in the paper. No, it won't. Where's Roger? I always had Roger start the car. Roger, start the car. Roger, start the car. I'm going to take, you better know what you're doing to do these or you're going to screw everything up. And I've had to pull many a chiropractor's thing out of a ringer because of this. It's right here. You might watch an MS lady get fixed real easy. This is exactly what the fire chief. These are, if I came back from lunch and had one of these, it's a picnic. It's a picnic. And Joan, you're over there with an atlas, aren't you? You had the eye, didn't you? And when your chiropractor caught me at a convention, he was like, doggone it, how come you could get that and I couldn't? The first thing he said to me when he said, that ate him alive, that he couldn't get your neck in place, didn't it? He had to hunt me down at a convention and yell at me for getting your atlas when he couldn't. Ready? This will be real easy. This is really real easy. Just relax your head. I'm going to get right underneath that skull.
Oh!
Just like this. Good. Keep going. Oh! Done. Now, who couldn't hear that through my microphone? Did I fake that? Was that real? You always make noise like that? Is your husband here? Has he heard you scream like that? Come on up here. Come on up here. That was pretty good. Now, Daniel, now remember what I did to you and what I did to you? How many atlas wedges do I have in this crowd? All right, there's people know this. The point of the story is I don't have my extensilizer. I love that green machine on this. So I really had to give that thing what for to break that thing loose in front of you and get it. Now, the secret for all the doctors in the crowd, this is the secret to the atlas. If the leg's back, I got it all the way up. The arm means nothing. The eye means nothing. You got to get to the foot and the cord's released. I'm done. Everything's fine. You did just like I wanted. The men would have cried and asked for their mother. You did just fine. Mommy, can I have a Kleenex? We'd have got them some Purell and wiped them up and sent them home. Give them a little sticker on your chest and go ahead. Go ahead. Hold tight. We've lost it. Look, I hope you guys are enjoying your estrogen because we're losing the men. Put your arm down. Hold tight. Well, with your stem on, you should, now that doesn't count unless your leg's back, on your back. And you want to see something. This is, hold tight. Positive. negative. If your eyes shut off and your arms shut off and your legs shut off, you just got fixed. On your back, your head in the paper. Believe it or not, it was a good move. Do you know what they call that tumor in Ted Kennedy's head? Oh, beer bottle? No, it's a cell phone tumor. A glioma is a cell phone tumor. Get this leg up. Hold tight.
Wow, thank you.
Now that, I did that to that dude twice, and let's go back to this. Her MD will be confused. See that right there? That's confused. Now, I don't know who she is. You all go up when this is over, ask her what just happened, because it'll haul her feelings coming back to life. You did a great job. That was for real. That was for real. Next, pick this up. I'm back to memory. I'm going to finish this memory topic, so don't forget what I'm talking about. This is the article I read to my kids. 3 months of fish oil, you'll be a year ahead of your peers, and your handwriting will be better, and your brain will get 3 years of development in 3 months. There's Wall Street Journal. Your kids are being filled with fluoride, mercury, and Ritalin and Prozac. Fish oil, 3 years of development in 3 months. I have teenagers. I have teenage boys. You ask my kids, what does fish oil do for your brain? They would drive across the state for their fish oil. It makes school easy. You're competing with kids full of mercury and fluoride. It's perfect. Next, IQ and brain function. I take 2 tuna oil and 2 lime. I never miss my fish oil. Why? I hate fish. Dad, I don't eat fish. Next. Now, pay attention to this. The brain in a baby during the last trimester of pregnancy in the first 2 years. This isn't the time you poison the kid. You feed them the first 2 years. Your minerals, your vitamins, your oils, your fats. You want a kid like that plays the violin and all that stuff? We're trying to put blocks together at 10. We're trying to talk at 10. You don't mess with a kid at 2, ever. Putting weird things in his bloodstream. 70% of the energy supply during fetal development is the brain. Your brain's fat and cholesterol. You can't do low fat, low cholesterol. That's why your brain's dead. But my doctor said my Lipitor. I know he told you that. Next, he'll be confused soon. The first kid takes 30%. By the third kid, if you ain't taking DHA, they're getting stupider as they go. That's in the literature. Unless you actually got DHA in your diet, each kid's IQ is lower than the last one. It's in the literature. You have to replace it because you're spending it. Next. You know your grandkids? Duh, huh, what, huh? You got something like that, don't you? Huh? Ask the kids, what, huh? I just look at them. You know, I hope somebody will pay you to be an idiot one day because I think you're in trouble. I don't know what to tell them. This is hope for the dummies. This is huge. All you dummies and me, because I didn't have this growing up. I didn't have any of this stuff. I'm putting stuff together after it's gone. Do you realize what this says right here? This is the Journal of Neurochemistry. They fed 3 generations of rats DHA deficient diets. They tried to make them as stupid as they could. They took the 3rd generation, they were complete idiots, put them on a bunch of fish oil, brought them back to the 1st generation in 6 weeks. Exactly. You have no clue what your kids have been missing. Not clue one. They paid for my kids' college. Does the same crap for your brain as the kids. You're all doing low fat, aren't you? Unbelievable. The Al-Qaeda's going to get us. Everybody run. the Journal of Psychiatry. How come nobody tells this to the kids that are on Ritalin and Prozac? Studies have shown omega-3 essential fatty acids are directly linked to depression, suicide, aggression, hostility, and violence. So let's put them on Ritalin. Dylan Klebold was on Luvox when he took out Columbine. You put 100 kids on Luvox, 5 to 15 are going to come unwrapped. That's in the literature. You have a 5 to 15% of a psychotic episode. How come not one of your pediatricians understood this? What was he learning for 12 years? He was learning to call me a quack. Next. Now, this is some technical stuff. You're going to see these huge words that I'm not going to go into. This is for the scientists. Next. Phosphatidylserine, phosphatidylcholine. P.S. I want you to see these words here. Next. As well as diets low in DHA decrease phosphatidylserine. The hippocampus, technical stuff. DHA is the major omega-3 component of the central nervous system and accumulates particularly in phosphatidylserine. Next. Lecithin, choline, phosphatidylserine. This is the old people lose their acetylcholine, Aricept, Exelon, all the Alzheimer medications, which they have no clue what they're doing, tries to keep your cholinergic function up. I took 6 grams of ginkgo this morning, and I came home and took 3 pharmaceutical grade ginkgo. So I took 6 grams of ginkgo, 6 cataplex B, and a protein shake was all I did to come here. I don't eat dinner before this. I'm going to eat something on the way home. I want an Arby's or something. I want some protein. I don't want a salad. I ain't going to sleep on your fruit or your salad or nothing like that crap, your muffins and your waffles. I can't sleep on all that. You guys just go nuts on that, but you think it's better than the meat, so I don't know. I've argued with them forever. There's hollow foods. You have to eat food that's raised or grown. This box bag stuff, this hollow food, gives you a hollow brain. When you feel empty, there's nothing in your food. You got to eat stuff that's raised or grown. Everything else ain't food. I'll tell you what, you have your tofu and you have your apples and your salads, and we'll have a piece. You need a piece of dense meat, and I want to see who works the longest. I'm going to feed 2 groups of people, and we'll see who does the most work. We'll let that judge. Watch Axemen on TV. See how much salad they eat when they go out there and follow those trees, and see if they can do it. I bet you they can't. Next. To make a long story short, this is a very expensive pill. There's 2 pills, phosphatidylcholine, which has phosphatidylserine, and phosphatidylserine, which has phosphatidylcholine. Use that one. It's got that's the lecithin concentrate, phosphatidylcholine. You want lecithin, you want the DHA, the lecithin for all the phospholipids. I'm going to give you a little formula. Once your arteries are open, once you've stopped poisoning yourself, once the heavy metals have at least been understood, I'll show you some very simple ways to feed the brain. That's the pill to raise phosphatidylcholine levels. Next. That's the ginkgo that I take 3 ginkgo on work days. It's 6 grams of ginkgo. It's huge on your brain. If you take real ginkgo to know what's going to happen, it takes 12 weeks to see what's going to happen. Nothing happened on my brain for 8 weeks. At 8 weeks, my gosh, my brain opened up. It was fun. Try your 3 ginkgo a day for 3 months, and you'll see maximum brain recovery in 3 months. That's pharmaceutical grade ginkgo. It's the same price as the stuff here. That's 6 grams. All your friends took 100 milligrams. I took 6,000 milligrams before I walked up here at about 6:30 tonight. Real ginkgo is a high dose. These little middly doses that they give you, this is not in the literature. And you know something? I hate ringing in the ears because it's damage, and about the only thing in the literature for ringing in the ears is real ginkgo. The only thing in the peer-reviewed literature is ginkgo. Next. Remember those lozenges I had, John? The point of this lecture was to show my parents why I got them spending all this money. And their brains are sharp and alive. Every one of you old-timers, forget the B12 shots because you're not going to have access to that. Every one of you over 60 would think that was speed. You'd love it. You can't go wrong giving any old person B12. You take one of those, you love it. The kids love it. Derek passed it out to his friends. You should take this pill. I could give a B12 shot to any old timer in this crowd, and they'd feel outstanding. They love it. How anybody had B12 shots in here? It wakes you up. Does it not wake you up? Feels good. And they used to say you can only get a shot. Baloney, you can get it in a lozenge. That's exactly, and I want you to know, if you just had a B12 deficiency from Nexium, Prilosec, Pepsid, just that, next. B12 looks exactly like Alzheimer's. B12 looks exactly like Alzheimer's. Numbness and tingling of the feet, nervousness, diarrhea, striking behavioral changes, paranoia, impaired memory, sore tongue, low platelets. B12, you can never, anybody 60 over, take one B12. Don't ask me. This is the stuff you can do real easy, and it's really excretable. Oh, they got to ask me, can I take this? Can I take that? You don't have to ask. You'll get rid of anything you don't need. But old timers love that pill. Next, I don't even know where I'm at in this sheet. I'm back to this one. And every time I see this, this is the EPA's version. There's my memory loss thing again. I don't care what the government says. I don't care what your pediatrician says. I don't even care what his dad says. This does not belong in the human body. It just doesn't. Ask anybody what's the lowest toxic level you can have. We've never found the lowest toxic level. It's all toxic. No matter how small, it's still a poison. But it's just this much. It's a small poison. There's no safe limits, ever, of mercury. Next. 10%, it's probably 10. So if the women that have too much mercury have kids, look at the wording. This is the wording that's in the literature. We're back to impairments in language. You know any kids like that? Isn't that autism? Impairments in language? That's a nice word for autism. Memory and attention span. How many times do you think I got to hear a kid come in and he can't pay attention? Well, how many shots has he had? 37? That's it? Isn't he supposed to have 39? You missed 2. Well, we've got those scheduled next week. Okay. Okay. You drink milk? Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't drink so much milk. His doctor said he should. All right. It's a comedy show. Girls, do we laugh all day? Just like that. Like the last lecture, the guy had the operation on his knee. Are you out there? I'm making fun of you now. What did you do after? Did they help your knee? It screwed it up. So what'd you do? Operated on the other one? Oh, why? Why would I think differently? Why would I give you some credit? You got credit today. The rest of them didn't. This is brand new. They pinned him. I wanted that guy's name, Charles Brown. Oh, I want this guy known. One dude took the FDA to the wall reluctantly. Everybody on the planet knows that you can't have mercury except the FDA. They finally had to change their website. Finally. Admit it. We have to kind of say, it may. They wouldn't even have the guts to say it did. You just might mess up your brain. Everybody knows it but them. They're almost on the page now. They get down to the may word. You just may mess you all up. It's neurotoxic. Amazing. Next. Aluminum. You know, remember, when you go to get melted American cheese on your burger, it's the aluminum that makes it melt. And I had to give up bottle caps. I like my little bottle caps for the kids that know what that is. When you turn over a bottle cap, I want you to read, there's a word on the bottle cap. There's a sneaky word. I like them. You know, everybody has their candies that you can eat and they don't make you sick. I don't eat lots of candy. I know the things that I can pick at that don't bother me. And everybody's probably got their little list of things that they can eat that doesn't make them sick. When you see this word, L-A-K-E, Lake is a real happy name for aluminum. Pick up the bottle caps in the store, turn them over. Lake 4, Lake 6. I mean, it's just a piece of aluminum. I've had to give up something that I like, so I'll remember where I am one day. But, you know, Menon Speed Stick with the green top is what I'm wearing. I don't want aluminum in my deodorant. You give your underarm Alzheimer's every day. You put that aluminum on, you eat the coating off your nerve until you grow a new one, you don't sweat. You just caused your arm to have Alzheimer's. It's exactly how it works. Your arm forgets to sweat till it recoats the myelin sheath. Children, there's that lake substance. Children are likely to come home with 75% of their Halloween candy totally contaminated with aluminum. Next. We're doing good. They went on to say that aluminum from Detroit drinking water has showed up in the brain in 4 to 7 minutes on rats. And when you go home, take your glass of water and look at that little flocculant. That's an aluminum sulfite flocculant. It's in your brain in 3 seconds once you drink it. And that does not have to be added to the water. Next. When they started to do dialysis, if you didn't use distilled water, if you used fluoridated or aluminum sulfidated water, you were electrocuted in 3 days. Dialysis dementia took 3 days with aluminum and fluoride in the water. You were done. They learned that real quick. My God, we can't use that kind of water in the machine. Nope, you electrocuted his brain on the 3rd day. And this is in the literature. It's called Hurry Up Alzheimer's. You can get it in 3 days on dialysis if you use tap water. What does aluminum do? Altered mental state and dementia. Speech is difficult. Shaky hands. Next. One of my favorite pills. I took 12 in the morning. These are the carbohydrate addicts. These are the worriers. Remember, the Cataplex B are the sugar people. The Cataplex G is the fat people. Trouble with fats, trouble with sugars. I have more trouble with sugars than I do with fats. Low blood pressure. G is the high blood pressure. Slow pulse, fast pulse. Dizzy when you stand up quick. Too tight. Two opposite halves to the B. That's my favorite pill. If I don't take this when I come in to deal with you, I could possibly be psychotic. Because the stuff that you say to me makes me want to tell you that you are psychotic. Next. Stress. You can fry your brain with stress. You've seen people go through such stressful episodes, their brain was cooked. It fried their hippocampus. The more stress, I mean, you can stress people and totally roast their brains. Next. Hypoglycemia damages the hippocampus. You have to keep your blood sugar stable. When Britney Spears was shaving her head, I'll bet you her blood sugar was in 1 digit. Psychosis, nah, too much booze, no food. Too much booze, no food. They're all like that. Robert Downey Jr. is running down the street naked out of rehab. Somebody should give him a protein and put some clothes on him. He's out of control. Pretty simple. Next. Now, for diseases, you better get a hold of your diabetes. Dad, my mom and dad have high blood pressure, and I congratulated them for that. Congratulations, you have high blood pressure, and we're not really going to do anything about it because if you take a beta blocker or a water pill, you'll turn diabetic. So right now, my other dad, you know, the rich Ford white guys, my dad's other boss, Jack, went to the hospital for a bad back. You should see my son. Nah, I don't believe in that crap. I got good insurance and I'd have to pay something, so I'm going to the hospital. 3 weeks on steroids, Dad says, you know, Jack just got out of the hospital. He's a diabetic now from them steroids. Well, hopefully, it was free. It's free diabetes. Who cares? Right? Yes or no? True? His other buddy pooped inside himself. He's dead. The other one, now, his friends are dropping off with free stuff. So I have to explain to everybody why he looks like he does. High fat, high cholesterol, high protein diet. Pretty simple. Just the opposite of all the dead people. What the heck? Next. Are we getting there? The diabetics should add lipoic acid to their life. And you, with the Atlas out there, whoever you are, I would tell her for that spinal cord irritation the Cataplex B, and you do those 2 oils, the Lion B6 and those fish oils. You do about 10 B. You want to start treating. The B treats the motor function. The oils treat sensory function. Got it? That's the 2 things you want to do to cool that cord off. How good does your left side feel right now? You would have gone straight into MS. You'd have been completely mistreated. They'd have done the spinal taps. They would have destroyed your life with a simple misalignment. I guarantee it. So the diabetics add that, but I want you back on some oils to get that cord cooled off. She'll write it down. What do you think if I wanted to ask you folks, my future diabetics, men, waist bigger than 40, don't raise your hand. Women, waist bigger than 35. Triglycerides greater than 150. Now, my dad, let's see, when he had a problem, he and his cholesterol was 250, his triglycerides were 260. I said, this stinks. You don't want your triglycerides over your cholesterol, that's a problem. So I put him on the fish oil, dropped him 70, 80 points. And it's fun to do some of that. HDL lower than 40, blood pressure greater than that, or fasting glucose. If you got 3 of those, you're going to be a diabetic. The amount of people coming in with this, I can't even begin to tell you. You guys, are you watching it? 30 years ago, I told people, I gave them the dog and pony show about diabetes. I'm done. You cannot afford to be diabetic. I don't give a crap what you think. You cannot afford it. You're going to be too broke to spend you're going to be working at Walmart at 80 to pay for medications that they're not going to pay for anymore. Anyway, you do not cut your carbohydrates out of your life. It's wasting you. You can't afford the world waiting for you. You know, Mario was on the phone. My neighbor called yesterday. He said, man, I tried to get my friend to see you yesterday. I was studying for my lecture, and my old neighbor called because my son's motocrossing with his kid in Frankenmuth at some Baja place. He called me. He said, man, I tried to get my friend yesterday. Tried to get my friend to see you yesterday. His 1-year-old got a shot. The kid's cried straight for 30 days and hasn't stopped once. I said, well, that's the gift that keeps on giving. That's what my old neighbor said that yesterday. I hear this all day. This is all the time. Constantly. It never lets up. And I'm cornered in stores to hear the rest of the story to make sure I didn't miss anything about how their friend messed up the rest of it. Next. Menopause. It is now known that even tiny deficits of thyroxine can affect memory. You women have to have your thyroid running right to make your memory run right, and the fluoride shuts it off. Sex hormones, memory loss in men and women. Menopause will affect the thyroid gland. Catastrophic effects on processing. Next. Simple. Now, at 50, I like that. Do I think I'm in menopause? No, I'm too stressed. Stress will steal your hormones. So right now, all you men, all you women, you're completely cooked. You have your libidos basically shot, and you have no hormones. All your hormones are used on survival. So you have no extra hormones, and that's why you're all cooked. So you can watch all the sex stuff on TV, but it's not really happening in your lives because you're all too burnt out, and you're too stressed. So if you want to know what cooked your sex drive, your stress did. And it cooked your sex drive. And everybody out there knows exactly what I'm talking about that's over the age of 30. Next. Was that lady here that was in today? Was she here, buddy? No, she wouldn't be here, would she? I blew a cork at this one rich woman today. I can look through here, hope she's not here. Had a lady in today. She lives in Birmingham. She looked at me with a straight, clear head with that, glassed over Birmingham Fagua lunch thing, and she said, you've seen it before with your dad. She looked at me and she said, I've had 7 heart catheterizations. I just laughed. And what'd they tell you? Nothing. Each one is 100,000 chest x-rays. MRI could cause memory loss. 4 studies said, my gosh, your brain's cooked. I said to my parents, because all you know, the MRIs and CAT scans you've all had as many as proportional to what your insurance will pay. Teachers, you've had the most. Blue Cross guys, I'll give you a list of who it was, because I've done this too long. So I'll make it real simple. You guys have had your MRIs for a sinus, you've had it for a chest cold, you've had it for earaches. You'll hold still because it's free. I said to my parents, only in the next life will I be able to tell you all the dye studies you didn't have. All the women, I had my 16th bone density test. Aren't you happy, Dr. Tent? You're old. You don't need this. Your bones are falling apart. I don't need to study it. I said to my mom, you'll never know how much longer you'll live because you didn't have 600 bone density tests. You don't study aging. I don't need to study aging. Osteoporosis is normal. Too much thyroid cost you your bones. Too much Nexium cost you your bones. If your stomach was dead, you lost your bones. Your bones didn't die without you helping them. I looked at a leg today. Janice, my wonderful patient, look at that smile. I walked in, I looked at you. We x-rayed her foot for heel today, didn't we? And I looked at her. I looked at Janet's been with me 20 years? 20 years. This is this morning. I look at her. I look at this x-ray. I look at her. What's wrong with your bones? I did a year's worth of prednisone. I could see it ate all the calcium out of her foot. And she's been with me so long and strives so hard. That was an irritating foot to look at today. With all the time and energy and money you spent on your health, what 1 year of prednisone did to her bones. The bone made no sense. I'm just looking at her foot. What the heck happened to this bone? I can see right through it. And there's no reason that did you have a hysterectomy? No. Did you take a lot of thyroid medication? No. I was puzzled. And she looked and she said, what'd you say? A year's worth of prednisone. You should cook the total heck out of her bone. So we put on raw bone today to see if I can stimulate some bone function. I was amazed at her foot. How these simple, look, I had 2 years of allergy shots. If I could suck those out of my arm and pass them back to the pediatrician. Yes, an MRI can cause memory loss. And I know I've had patients that have had 15 of them. Next. Remember, Dad, the Indian called me. He wanted to do a 30-minute dye study on you. And he was going to call. The Indian, Mustafa Muhammad, tried to call me to talk my dad. I want your dad to have a 30-minute dye study. Oh, you do you? Well, that's kind of fun. Is there relatives coming over in a boat that I don't know about? And my dad's like, well, you know, it's 30 minutes. He said the insurance will cover it. You're not having a 30-minute x-ray, Dad. You're 83. This was last year. He was 82. You're not having a 30-minute x-ray. I don't care if Ford pays for it or not. Right, Dad? But the Indian was all excited. I'm gonna talk your son into it. He thought he was going to talk me into this. He didn't. Isn't that what he said? Give me the phone. I'm going to call your son at work, and I'm sure he'll agree to this. He never got through the front desk. Dr. Tent, should I get a bunch of CAT scans? You want to eat lunch at Hiroshima? These things are wonderful tools for emergencies. This is not done routinely. My gosh, the stuff that you've had for your chest colds and stuff, for Pete's sakes. And the lawyers have their hand in this pile. They're all in this pile together. Next. Now they're telling you CAT scans are responsible for 2% of all deaths in the U.S. 2%. You ready? They say if there's 1.4 million, right now they said there's 29,000 cases a year just from CAT scans. 29,000 cases of cancer a year. It had nothing to do with, why did God do this to me? He didn't do it to you. Next. Drugs that cause memory loss. I'm amazed. I'm completely amazed. It's overwhelming. They had to put suicide warnings on singular because kids were trying to whack themselves trying to keep the pill because their nose ran. Just use a Kleenex. You don't need to hang yourself in the closet. It's okay, son. It's okay. Blow your nose, it's fine. You know who found out the hard way? Bart Stupak. No, Congressman Stupak. This kid had some zits. Happiest kid in the world, some zits. Here, I got this drug for you. Well, about 2 weeks, he shot himself through the head, and old Congressman Stupak, he's been in a knot ever since. He's not real happy that he didn't know you could shoot yourself on that drug, so he's rattling some cages over in Washington because his kid, the happiest kid in the world, shot himself over zits. Congressman Stupak. Next. A summary, simple summary. I know what my hair analysis is, as does my family. I know what my clotting factors are. I've cleaned up my arteries 3 times now. You want to know how to do it? The girls can walk you to it. I'm not going to short out my arm. I ain't drinking nothing out of the tap water. I ain't using this toothpaste. Ask the staff. We got great alternatives for everything. My kids are not getting mercury in their teeth. You ain't putting it in their veins. We're not playing this game. Next. You better. Okay, simple test. Your stomach stinks. Go home, try some apple cider vinegar, a tablespoon in a glass of water. Eat something that gives you heartburn. Drink it, see if it gets better or not. I've been an athlete for 50 years. I play sports with the 18-year-old kids. And believe me, the 18-year-old kids are weak today. The old guys beat the crap out of the kids, for Pete's sakes. It's not even difficult. But the first time I remember sitting out there, in all the sports that I played, you hand me that plastic bottle. It took 1 sip out of that plastic bottle. I've never drank that crap. It tastes like the plastic. Nobody had to tell me this. You get that stuff on your bike, fill it up with water, drive around in the heat and drink it. You're drinking an estrogen while you're trying to pedal. The taste, I can taste it. It tastes funny. Doesn't it? Who agrees with that? All the dog chewies you were on, these are this plastic. Your kids sucked on estrogen-soaked binkies while they were growing up. They got boobs, they're roly-poly. They're all from estrogen-soaked toys that they played with. Those are estrogen disruptors. You can't suck on these little plastic pacifiers. You're killing the kid. It's huge. They're made in China for dogs or something. Digestion. You better find out your digestion. You can have no symptoms with a dead stomach. Nothing. You fart and belch a couple times. Big deal. Your hair falls out a little bit. Minerals. You want to make sure you hold back the metals. Minerals and metals are the same. I want lots of good minerals to let the metals slide by. Look, prescriptions are causing you to lose your mind. They ain't losing your mind all over the world like they are here. You're losing your minds faster than everybody. Think about why. The rest of the world ain't doing this. Trans fat. You're never going to eliminate trans fat. You know, eat an Oreo cookie loaded with trans fat. Why itself? But if you get a ton, I'm going to do a lecture, a very special lecture in the summer on fats. I'm putting it together now. It's going to be next year in the summer. The ones you got, this is a complicated subject. For now, all I need to know. Those are the 3 you have to have. You get those in the tuna oil. A tuna is that and that. Line and B6 and tuna oil works real good for me. I do 2 and 2. I never miss. This is how me and my family looks like this. It's the fats and oils that make you glow. Don't electrocute your head. I've said it before. I had this guy up some years ago, shut off the electric blanket, and his leukemia went away. Don't get yourself in electrical fields. I had fun with those 2 little girls today, 2 little blonde girls. They're sitting there eating their NutraSweet gum. Ma broke the pack out, and they're all jumping around the room on all their NutraSweet. I went, oh, congratulations. We just poisoned their little brain. And she said, well, I know. She said, that's NutraSweet. There's about 6 different names for it. It's called. I've never ate a piece of Wrigley's gum since they took the sugar out. That's fine. That's never again. I will never eat juicy fruit. I will never eat the Wrigley's. I like that. None. Never. I'm not. We wrote them a letter. This stinks. We're glad you like the product. Thank you for sending us the letter. I don't know. I'm not doing NutraSweet. I don't want diet. Diet does not one bit of you. You cannot fool your appetite centers. Nice try. It doesn't work. You don't do anything diet. You want food. Never eat this diet. You want real food, not artificial chemical, nothing. Like I said before, perfume is glue. The active ingredient in perfume is glue. Walk through the fragrance department, talk to the women. Find out who's been there the longest and have an interesting conversation. Bug spray. I can stand in a crowd of people and watch everybody completely coat their body with the most toxic neurotoxin on the planet. And when they gave the Gulf War I, they gave them oral DEET, okay? That DEET in a pill. They considered that made those people so sick, you can't put it on your skin. They took oral DEET. And out of Gulf War I, there was an interesting side effect, Lou Gehrig's disease. There was an interesting side effect from statins, Lou Gehrig's disease. They found it alarming. They were quite disturbed. You ain't going to be disturbed until they tell you you got ALS. You'll be disturbed then. Next. Those are 2 oils I take every day. That's the ginkgo I took. It's 6 grams. I do actually 12 of those. My lecithin, I take my protein. I don't eat any carbs in the morning. This is some suggestions for diet. I do the calcium hydrochloric acid. This is just to keep my brain sharp. Now, after doing this for 30 years, you got to watch me go through a room full of doctors that haven't done any of this stuff, and they're completely chemicalized. It'll be shooting fish in a barrel. It's going to be so bad. But again, it's the training that set the stage for my life. It's all mentors. If you ever find the right people for what you do, I'm almost done. Next. Man. There's a lot of stuff to go through. So the point of this whole story was today, I don't think there's a thing called Alzheimer's. I think we have a conglomeration of symptoms. And after 28 years in practice, I have seen 3 patients' brains crash and burn that nothing you could do to pull them out. 3 out of this entire, people bring in, pretty baked relatives, lots of anesthesia, lots of operations. Alzheimer's is a very interesting so-called condition. It really doesn't have a well-defined thing, just like AIDS was. So you're going to find you put these symptoms together without a genetic problem in your head, I see no reason for anybody losing their minds. It's too easy to preserve it, but it's a journey. You don't wait till you can't find the car and ask, now what do I do? Your nerves heal very, very slow. Good. Other than that, I will have, I'm sure, before I see you again, I'm going to have some very interesting stories, whatever happens in September. This is going to be something. I have no clue what's waiting for me. It's going to be an absolute gas. I'm going to have a field day. To know this stuff this well, and they're not going to know what you guys know, you guys would be able to ask, my long-term patients, would be able to follow me better than what they're going to be able to follow. They'll be lost. All you old-time patients, you could sit and tap the guy, and he's doing this now. It'll be that bad. So you patients are far ahead of the doctors. Far ahead. My staff's all ahead of them. So you watch what I'll have to say, and I'm sure there's going to be some fun stories. Thank you that was a great story. Thank you for your story. I want to thank all you people for coming. Drive safely, and I'll see you in December.